Hi everybody, we are here today to show you how to do a oil pastel picture. You should have received, if you're part of the 4-H group, a kit that Tyler put together that will have your oil pastels. It will have a graphite pencil, paper to do about 6 drawings, and then the tissue paper so that you can do your blending. So we wanted to show you. So we're going to show you how to do this picture first. And then I'm going to show you how to do this picture as well. There's a lot of different options of things you can do. So Tyler did another picture. And then, as I mentioned in the video, if you have permission, go ahead and you can look on YouTube, you can look on Pinterest. I know I push Pinterest a lot to find different ideas of things you can do. Just search for oil pastels and see what you can come up with. The first thing you're going to do is take your tape, if you have it, and make a border all the way around your page. This will give you a nice crisp line later on when your picture is done. Remember to use either blue painter's tape or kind of that yellow masking tape works really well. And I'm just going about a 1/4 inch onto the edge. You don't have to go real far, but just enough so that you can. So you can see just about a 1/4 inch around each side. Okay, so now your paper is taped to the table, which also helps it from moving, and then you're going to have this nice crisp edge all around. So we're going to start with our lighter colors down towards the bottom, and the oil pastels act a lot like a crayon when you're coloring, so you want to fill it in pretty well, and then you will go back and blend the color. So we're going to start with our yellow, and you're just going to go up a little bit onto the page and just color all around right up to that edge. Now, you don't have to tape your edges. You can just do like I'm doing right now and just make an edge, but it makes it so later on when you're blending, you don't have to think about it so much, and you don't have to worry about having your edge be crisp. So you just color, as you can see, it goes on a lot like a crayon. You want to really fill that color in to make it later when we go to blend. Then you'll have a good amount and you won't have a lot of white. So you start with your yellow. And then after you get that filled in, I'm going to switch to my orange. And you'll just do the next bit up. Kind of the same amount. I'm doing, I don't know, maybe 1 inch or so sections, 1.5 inch sections. Overlap your color just a little bit, and that'll help blend it. And you can see how I'm just adding a little bit of streakiness into that yellow, and that'll make it so you don't have a hard crisp line. You'll end up with a nice blended line. And when you go on your tape sides, like see how I kind of go up along and go with the grain of the tape? That'll just help you fill that in. Then you just fill it in. And this can be messy because we're going to go back later and blend it. So after you do your orange, then you'll switch to your red. Do the same thing. You're making a rainbow on your page. Like I said, remember, kind of go back and add a few little streaks of red into the top of your orange. And that'll help blend it later. Just really make sure you're filling that in. Nice, and get out of those little white spots. So as you can see, it looks like, I keep saying, it looks like a crayon. So after the red, we will move to blue, and I'm going to start with my little bit lighter blue. And actually, I'm going to try to make a little bit of a purple. So just kidding, I'm going to move to my darker blue. So I'm going to put a little bit of the darker blue in here and just add some streaks. And you can kind of, we don't have a purple in our set, and so that's where we're going to take and do a little bit of extra red, actually. Do a light extra red like this. And then you'll take and add that blue to it to get a purple. So just a real light coat of red, and then come back and do a nice top coat of blue. And that is going to give you that purple, because we don't have purple in our set. Okay, now switch over to your lighter blue and add that in for your next layer. Just like you've done, kind of overlap a little bit. There's lots and lots of really fun projects that you can do with these. If you have permission, go onto Pinterest or even search on YouTube for oil pastel, and then just see what you can find. There's all kinds of different ways to do this, especially with the tape. You'll see lots of really cool things that you can do. Then I'm going to switch to my darker blue for the top. And I'm going to go all the way to the top. This is going to be our last color. Color it all in. Lots of color. Remember to overlap into your other color just a little bit so you don't have a hard line. Alright, so just like that, that's your page. So it just kind of looks like a scribbly color page, like a crayon page. Now we're going to blend. So you want to take your tissue paper that was in your pack, and you want to just tear off a big square. You don't have to cut it. You don't have to be real precise. So now I have this. I'm going to cut it in half to give myself a square. So what you want to do is then fold it up. You want to have a little nice little blending tool. So we're going to fold it in half, fold it in half. Just keep folding it in half. Make yourself a nice little folding square. Just like that. Get it real small, and then we're going to make a triangle. And then you're just going to have this little blending tool. Now, when you're doing this, you might have little flakes of it come off onto your page. That's okay. You can kind of just flick them off with your finger. So we want to start from the light and go to the dark. So for this one, we're going to start at the bottom in the yellow and move our way up to the top. And you're literally just going to scrub the page kind of back and forth and all around. Do some circles and just blend that color together so that it looks more like a painting. And when you get to those top lines, just kind of try to blend them in. And you'll start to get some of that color transferred between, and that's great. So you want to make sure that you blend all of your lower line here where you don't maybe want that orange before you jump into that orange color. So kind of just all around, you'll see how this blends really well. I have tried this before with some older chalk pastels, and they wouldn't really blend. So that's how is a good indication that your chalk pastels are getting old, is if they won't really blend together anymore, because it just really is like a crayon. So you can see it's starting to flake off, and that's okay. Just kind of keep moving. But part of that color, see how you can kind of transfer it between the two to really make a nice blend. So this, you just keep going all the way. I'm kind of using a circular motion. You can go back and forth. If it feels like you're getting too much buildup, you can kind of just refold your little blending tool and get to a clean spot again. But you want some of that color from the other to blend and make kind of a rainbowy, so you don't have too hard of a line. So when you have this line right here, you want to kind of blend over it and go back and forth. Blend it so that you don't just have hard lines all up the whole page. But you just keep blending, 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 and you can see how it's gone from this scribbly crayon look to this nice blended look where you don't have all the lines and you have that mix of color, and it really fills out that whole page. So you just keep going. You can see it's kind of flaking, but it's still working. If you get little flakes, like I said, just kind of pick them off. They won't stay on. They're not going to ruin it. But you can also see, so see how I'm really trying to blend that line up and down, circulars, just go all around. I don't want to try to hit that blue quite yet, so I'm going to move over. You can add a little yellow back into your red. That'll make some nice orange colors in here, kind of sunset-y colors. And just keep going. You know, like anything, it takes a lot of practice. You got to do it a few times to really get it figured out. But do a few. That's why you have a few pieces of paper in your pack. Just keep trying. Just like everything. It's not going to be perfect the first time you do it. I've done this a couple times now. And then sometimes when you blend your colors, you think you're going to get purple, and it kind of turns a little brown, but that's okay too. So just roll with it. It is what it is. We can go back over later too if you don't quite know, if your colors feel too dark. You can always add in a little bit of white or gray. You have white and gray in your kit. Or you can always add a little black to it too. And a little streak of black will really darken things up if you feel like it's getting too light. So like up here where we've got this light blue, I'm going to continue to use this kind of red in here to really, really try to blend in those colors and add in some of that rainbowy looking sky. And you can see I've got some of my paper here that's flaked off from my tissue paper. Just kind of bloom it off the edge and it'll go away, and that's fine. But these pastels here that we're using, okay, so once you get finished, you can add in, I added a little black streak to the top to get a little bit darker. I added a little green down at the bottom, and just kind of some nice little wispies, and then just really blended it in. When you're done, just throw away your little blending tool and we'll move on. So now we're going to do a silhouette of a rabbit, because that's what we love at our house is rabbits. But whatever you feel like doing, it's up to you. You can do trees, you can do animals, whatever, horses, different things. So I went on to Google, and all I did was search in images for a rabbit silhouette, and this really cute guy came up, and so then I cut him out. And then I also have this idea to be able to use on the bottom, which I'm going to just draw on freehand. So to do this, you want to get your graphite pencil, and that's why this graphite pencil is very important. They come in different thicknesses, or hardnesses, I should say, for the lead. And so really it's just finding which one works best for you. But this graphite draws right on top of this oil pastel. So what we're going to start with is, you want to kind of have an idea of where you want your bunny to be, or your animal, or whatever you're doing. He's going to sit about right there. So all I'm going to do is just trace him, just so I have a general idea of what my bunny should look like. So I'm just going to trace around my bunny here. Get around his little ears and all his things here. And his cute little nose. And then you can go back in and add, like this bunny's got some really cute little whiskery details and things. I, of course, didn't cut those out. I'm going to just go back in and add those in drawing-wise. So there's my little bunny. I've got him on the page, just a nice little bunny. So then I'm going to go in and just kind of add what his base is. So I'm going to just color in a little bit. He's standing on his little hill. And then you can go in and fill that all in with your graphite pencil. You could also, with this big of a space, you could also go in and fill it in with your black if you wanted to. So that would be another option, that you could take your black and fill it in. You just need to blend that back in later on. But I'm just going to use my graphite pencil. This is a little bit thicker area than I was intending, but that's okay. But you can see that graphite pencil really, really colors right on top, and it gives you that nice fill in. But you could always, like I said, use that black oil pastel to really, really fill that in nicely. If you want it to be a little bit thicker and not so strokey. And you could use your blending tool again. So I think I ended up with a little bit harder or maybe a little bit softer one than some of them, but that's okay. Seems to be working well. Okay, so then I'm just going to go in and fill in that bunny tail. He's got a cute little tail. And then fill in my bunny. And you're just kind of going for that shadowy silhouette is what we're doing here with this guy. And his cute little foot. And I'm kind of using a circular scribble to try to overlap and fill in. Seems to be working pretty well. And my little guy's got some kind of little wispies here, so I'm kind of adding those in with his little paw. And like I said, just going back to kind of a circular scribble to fill him in. And just keeping those lines. If you can freehand, go for it. I'm not the best at just freehanding animals. I'm gonna go back in and okay. So then I'm gonna get to his little ears. I'm gonna add him a little bit more point to him than what I cut out. We generally prefer our loppy ear bunnies, but they're not super easy to draw in silhouette. You lose their ears. So we went with a more standard bunny this time. Getting up there. Sure you get a nice little point on his nose. Shows his cute little nose. The biggest thing with your graphite pencil and whatever you decide to do as your silhouette drawings is start light and then come back in heavy. So I'm going to add in his little whiskers here. He's got some little whiskers, so I'm just kind of adding those in. And yeah, some little you can add some little hairs coming off a little bit just to give him a little texture, but not go too crazy. There we go. So there we have our little bunny. I'm just going to come back in down here at the bottom and kind of fill in a little bit more. Like I said, kind of a, not necessarily a back and forth scribble, more of a circular scribble. Make sure you don't lose his little floofy tail. There we go. Really fill that in. You can make it so that you don't do quite such a hill that he's standing on. That would be helpful. And then just kind of watch your hand when you get up into where you're drawing so that you don't end up transferring too much of that graphite onto your color where you don't want it to be. There we go. Okay, so something I thought that was cute with this little bunny that I found is he's got little grass and such. So that's something you can just kind of add in and just go different ways. He's standing in the grass and kind of going different ways. And if you go up and lift up, then you'll get that where it kind of tapers at the top like a blade of grass would, and you kind of go across. And it's kind of leaving some little lines down here, so we'll go back in later and fix those. But you just kind of let your hand go up and around and give him some grass. Because the bunnies like the grass. There we go. But you can just see, you know, if you want some more, add some more. But start light and then go a little bit stronger. You can always add more. It's hard to, you can't really erase, so you don't want to have to erase too much. And then I'm going to kind of just come back over this a little bit and cover up some of those lines. I can see on my side, I don't know. I should see. Okay. But there you go. Now you have your little bunny silhouette. Now, if you want to, you can add some more. You can add a tree if you wanted to. There's a lot of different ways to do that, where you can go up in perspective and draw some simple trees. The other thing you can do, you can add some simple birds in the skies. Those are just kind of some simple little W type forms like this. I'm just doing those in different places, big or little depending, but it just adds a little bit of texture to it. You can see the little birds flying in the sky. I tend to add a lot of that kind of stuff when I do little paintings that are outside stuff. I have my little birds, so birds are flying in the background. But there you go. So that is a very simple way that you can do a kind of a sunset. You can do all yellow and orange and red and kind of make it like a fiery scene, or you could even do purples, blues, and greens for that real pretty sunset sky that we get sometimes. But that's the first silhouette that we wanted to show you today. Oh, hold on. Okay. And then to finish off, you want to take that tape off. So remember to figure out which ones it was the top. And just be real gentle. Hopefully it doesn't tear. Mine's trying to tear my page just a smidge. This might not have been the best tape, but that's okay. You just kind of go slow, and it might tear it a little bit, but that's all right. But you can see, ooh, I think part of that too is make sure that you don't press real hard, and then make sure you kind of tear it off at an angle a little bit. So you can see I'm kind of lifting up and I'm doing it at an angle, and I got a little bit of tear, but not too bad. This tape might be a little bit strong for our paper, so I know a good masking tape would work really well, or maybe trying the blue tape might be a little better, but you can see it's not so bad. Just make sure you kind of keep an angle, but you can see there, and you know, I got them a little bit uneven on the page, but this makes a nice crisp line there to finish our artwork off. There you go. And just like that, we have our finished bunny.